Hello folks, so here we are in the month of May already. May is going to see the first eclipse of the year, which of course ushers inevitable changes as usual. And then there's another eclipse in June. I'm going to post videos, separate videos for that shortly. We have the retrograde phases of Saturn and Mercury also starting in May. But Venus and Mercury are going to be strong throughout the month. Yeah, so let's get started. Right, so Mercury transits Taurus from May the 1st till May the 25th. May will see Mercury, Venus, and Sun all enter Taurus, which will soften that harsh Rahu energy for the upcoming month. Because Rahu has been transiting in Taurus for quite some time now. Rahu's energy tends to amplify, exaggerate, innovate, which can be good things, but it tends to do it in an unstable and chaotic way. Mercury is one of Rahu's best allies and tends to manage the instability of Rahu quite well, producing some of the positive bits, like the ability to innovate, for example. Taurus is the earth sign of Venus, generally a friendly location for Mercury anyway. So Mercury is going to form an exact conjunction with Rahu on exactly May the 11th. Mercury will retrograde in Gemini and Taurus from May the 29th till June the 22nd. So Mercury basically moves past Rahu and out of Taurus on May the 25th, only to take a stationary stance before beginning a retrograde phase on May the 29th that takes him back into Taurus on June the 2nd, where he resumes direct motion on June the 22nd at 22 degrees of Taurus. So most of the time, up until July, Mercury will spend its time in Taurus, most of it, yeah. So not until July will we really see Mercury transiting the sign of Gemini. Now, it's always a good idea to consciously slow down mental and physical processes when Mercury is retrograde, because it can confuse and destabilize the already quick style of Mercury. Now, sometimes a retrograde cycle can cause reversals or an upset of your plans or your directions. With this retrograde cycle of Mercury and also Saturn's retrograde beginning in the midst of an eclipse cycle, plans will be altered at this time. Yeah, so be aware of that. That's approximately the third week of May. So prepare for some shifts and opportunities that could arise very quickly at this time. Be ready to pivot, to launch quickly, or to step back quickly as appropriate to the situation. Yeah, towards the third week of May. This would be a great time for brainstorming though, mock-ups, experimental creative efforts, planning of sorts. In a classic Mercury retrograde way, we can also use this time to rework, edit, rehash, and essentially come back to the drawing board for creative inspiration. Mercury and Venus also form a body birth in yoga at this time towards the end of the month. But I'm going to speak more about it in the next month's forecast, because it really just happens at the very, very end of the month, so it won't really affect us till June. Now, Venus transits Taurus from May the 4th till May the 28th. So Venus has picked up speed, finally moved past the Sun, and finally moved out of combustion. So Venus will move into her own sign of Taurus on May the 4th. Venus will conjunct Rahu there on May the 18th at 18 degrees Taurus. So good time for negotiations, contracts, deals, networking of all types. The Rahu factor could produce some unexpected but fertile connections. This grouping in Taurus could make May an active month for all of us. We could use this energy to create and build upon the foundations, because we're talking about an earth sign here. Now, there is a new moon in Aries in the nakshatra of Kritika on May the 11th at 28 degrees of Aries, which takes place around 8 p.m. UTC. At this time, Moon will be the sole planet in Aries, and Venus, Rahu, and Mercury in the next sign, Taurus, and Mars, ruler of Aries, placed in Gemini. So this concentration of planets in the first three signs of the zodiac, especially at the moment of the new moon, shows that we could be gaining some momentum on what's already been initiated. We're seeing the gathering of resources and the execution of new plans here. By month's end, we will enter into retrograde cycle with Saturn retrograde from May 23rd till October the 10th, Mercury retrograde from May 29th till June the 22nd, and Jupiter will go retrograde next month from June 20th till October the 18th. So the implication here is to use this forward-moving energy while it's still available. Often retrograde cycles tend to bring us around for editing, rewiring, or dealing with temporary reversals and even some restructuring. The Sun will transit Taurus from May the 14th till June the 14th. The Sun moving into Taurus, joining Rahu, could create some unexpected obstacles or opportunities that bring confusion rather than clarity. It's Rahu's job to basically stir things up and make changes in the world. But when we begin to expect the unexpected, it's sometimes easier to accept change, whether it's welcome or not. All right, now, so a little bit about Saturn retrograde, which is happening in Capricorn from May the 23rd till October the 10th. So on May the 23rd, we will find Saturn stopping in the forward motion and stationing at 20 degrees of Capricorn, beginning a 4.5 month retrograde phase that will walk him back to 13 degrees of Capricorn, where he resumes direct motion in October. Now, the week before and the week after Saturn goes retrograde, you will feel that energy the strongest, usually. And usually it's the strongest the week before when it's building up to that place, yes? Retrograde planets can surprise us by fostering events that are opposite to what we would expect. The retrograde factor can also indicate a strong desire for that planet's results, which causes us to try even more diligently to gain those fruits. In retrograde Saturn's case, perhaps we may be faced to repeat or edit some of our foundational efforts that we may have been making. But we may also experience things that we can expect to be heavy and difficult to move and difficult to change. So Saturn's going to dig even further into the nakshatra called Shravan, ruled by the moon. So this could be a crucial time to keep an ear to the ground, remaining open and sensitive to deep changes. Beginning with Mars on June the 2nd, we will experience the transit of all the inner planets through Cancer, which receive the full aspect of that retrograde Saturn from Capricorn. By mid-August, Mars, Venus, Mercury, and Sun will have passed through Cancer and also Saturn's heavy gaze. It could be a transformational summer where the pressure of Saturn facilitates difficult transitions. Now a bit about the full moon at the end of the month, which is also a lunar eclipse. That's taking place on May the 26th in Scorpio in the nakshatra of Anuradha. It's the first eclipse of 2021, and it comes when the moon pulls into Scorpio, joining with Ketu and opposing the Sun and Rahu in Taurus for a total lunar eclipse, which I will speak about separately. When an eclipse comes during the full moon, it's the moon that is being eclipsed. The moon will be at 12 degrees of Scorpio in the nakshatra of Anuradha, while Ketu will be at 17 degrees of Scorpio in the nakshatra of Jyeshta. In the opposite camp, we have Sun and Rahu in Taurus in the nakshatra of Rohini. Now, with the strength of Ketu prevailing at this time, we may all wish to take some time to introspect and be still. This is the best way to harness the power of Anuradha. It's a time to let go of some of our longings, some of our desires, especially connected to relationships. In this way, the suitable ones will be healed and blossom even further, and the unhealthy ones can dissipate and fall away. This time gives us a rare opportunity to listen to our intuition, our inner voice, given the strength of Ketu here. So it's a very good time to go inward, as you will clearly be able to get the answers that you seek. Yeah. Overall, it's a good month. So make the best of it. That's all for now, folks. Cheers.